The Whole Truth built a 2,000 crore healthy food empire in just 6 years. Today, they're expected to be clocking an annual revenue of over 200 crores for the year 2025. To put things into perspective, when you compare the Whole Truth with some of its competitors, this is what it looks like. And some of these companies like Yoga Bar and Oziva were started way before the Whole Truth. Even the competition in this market is insane. Amul is launching protein products left and right. Many actors and influencers are also launching their own protein brands. In spite of all this, the Whole Truth went from just 35 crores in 2023 to over 200 crores in 2025, and they're even expected to cross the 250 crore mark by the end of this year. So, what's their secret? How did the Whole Truth crack a market that's so crowded and extremely price sensitive? And what can other D2C brands learn from this strategy? I'm Varun Kuntur and you're watching Insights by TBH. Before we get into the details of how the Whole Truth cracked this industry, you first need to understand the landscape of India's 45,000 crore health and snacks market. After COVID 2020, the health food consumption pattern in India exploded. From a market size of just $10 billion, it has now grown 3 times to over $30 billion and is expected to reach $60 billion by 2026. And we can clearly see this. More and more people are going to the gym. Run clubs and fitness events like High Rocks are blowing up. People are also starting to read food labels. And whenever the interest in people rises, it also creates opportunities for multiple businesses to exist, which is why you see so many health and wellness brands appearing on Shark Tank India. And even some of the top health food brands like Yoga Bar got acquired at a valuation of 450 crores by ITC. But there's also a big problem with this market. It's completely built on lies. Walk into any grocery store and you'll see protein bars claiming 30-gram protein. But when you read the back of the label, you'll find it's 30 grams of protein for every 100 grams and not per serving. Brands also use misleading terms like high protein for products that barely contain 5 to 6 grams of protein. Some brands even resort to protein spiking by mixing creatine so that when the product is tested in a lab, it shows a higher protein number. And most consumers have no idea if what they're getting is genuine or not. This is exactly what happened to Shashank Mehta, the founder of the Whole Truth. Shashank was religiously buying protein bars thinking he was making healthy choices, until one day he actually read the labels very carefully. Shashank later said these products had more sugar than protein, more preservatives than nutrients. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Instead of just switching brands, Shashank started researching the entire supply chain. What he discovered was that this wasn't just a labeling problem. It was a systematic issue rooted in how the entire industry operated. Most brands didn't even manufacture their own products. They were just middlemen slapping their labels on generic products that were made in just a few factories. The quality was inconsistent and there was zero innovation. Shashank was so passionate about fitness that he used to write a blog called The Fit Shit, which later became the name of the parent company of the Whole Truth. Now, the entire business model of the Whole Truth is based on 3 unique insights. Building trust is probably the most difficult part of building any brand. And for the Whole Truth, it's even harder. You see, the only way to build trust in your consumers is to make a claim or a promise for what you stand for and to really stick with it. For example, the entire Volvo Cars brand is built on their promise of safety. Jio was built on the promise of affordable internet. And you need to model your entire brand around that claim. Everything from your packaging to advertising to messaging to even your content. The claim or the promise of the Whole Truth stood for nothing but the truth. They promised no artificial sweeteners, no preservatives, and zero added sugar in all of their products. Shashank decided that their protein bar would only have 6 ingredients, nothing else. And when they took the recipe to manufacturers, they were outright rejected, saying their products do not have any binders in them. So the Whole Truth even had to set up their own manufacturing facility. They even displayed all of their ingredients on the front of their packaging. And when you look at their designs, it looks like quick notes that we write down in our textbooks to understand concepts better. And these tiny details make you trust them even more. Like for example, in this protein bar, they scratch out zero sugar because technically it still has some naturally occurring sugars in it because they're using dates. But it's just that they're not adding any more sugar or artificial sweeteners to it. Also, they don't have any product photos on top of their packaging because they really believe that food companies put up fake food pictures on their packaging to hide all the chemicals they're putting into your food. This is reflected even in the content that they post on social media. Now, there are 2 very important factors that affect the success of food products: the taste and the shelf life. Now, because of their promise of no artificial sweeteners and no added sugars, they had to use other natural ingredients like dates as sweeteners in their products, which are way more expensive when compared to refined sugar. And here's where it gets even harder. Since they don't use any preservatives, it reduces the shelf life of their products to just 6 months. So basically, the Whole Truth is competing against other players who are able to manufacture their products for a much lesser cost. So they have higher margins, and these competitors also have a much longer shelf life. So even their wastage is very little. This already puts the Whole Truth at a big disadvantage. Here's your takeaway number 1. To build trust, you need to make a promise, and you must do everything you can to deliver on that promise. Now, every business has two sides to it. If product is on one side, sales and marketing is on the other side. You may have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about your product, then it doesn't really matter. The fundamental goal of marketing is virality. You let a few people know about your brand, and hopefully they like it. They'll tell their friends and their family and their colleagues and everybody else they know. The Whole Truth built their entire marketing strategy around creating videos and social media campaigns that were meant to educate customers about what's in their food. They explained what is maltodextrin, why do brands add anti-caking agent INS 551 and anti-foaming agent INS 500A, and all of these chemicals in a fun and entertaining way. Their idea was simple. Once you understood all these chemicals in your food, you will go and tell your friends about it. You'll tell your parents about it. Even their advertisements and social media campaigns were all about exposing hidden ingredients in your packaged foods. All of this content also positioned the Whole Truth as the trustworthy alternative. Now, this is one of the most common strategies that a lot of the brands use. Zerodha did this too with Zerodha Varsity. They created tons of free content around how to invest in stock market, how to trade equity, how to invest in an IPO. And since they are providing so much value and educating you for free, when it comes to investing, you will automatically choose their platform. So here's your takeaway number 2. You can easily build brand awareness and loyalty by educating your customers. Now, we already discussed how the Whole Truth were forced to set up their own manufacturing because other third-party manufacturers refused to manufacture their recipe. But this indirectly ended up creating a massive advantage for their business. You see, every business in this world works with other businesses to fulfill their requirements at different stages. They basically have a few things that are at the core of their business. If you look at headphones, for example, companies like Boat buy entire headphones from cheap Chinese companies, they stamp their logo on them and sell it. This is a level 1 business. Then there are global companies like Sony who design, develop and manufacture their own products, and they can even control their entire supply chain. This is a level 4 business. 90% of D2C brands in India are level 1 businesses. They buy generic food products and stamp their logo on them. When you don't own manufacturing, you're essentially at the mercy of your suppliers' priorities and their production schedules. You can't innovate quickly, you can't ensure consistent quality, and you have very little margins because the price doubles at every stage. But when you own the entire production process, it gives you multiple advantages. The Whole Truth can launch new products and flavors in less than 60 days, whereas every other company requires an average of at least 6 months. When they wanted to launch their chocolate spread, they could iterate new formulations every day instead of waiting for weeks for their supplier to send them samples. Every batch that they produced was made to their exact specifications. They never had to worry about suppliers using cheap ingredients or sometimes even changing the ingredients by mistake. As they can scale even more, their per unit costs decrease massively. Now here's your takeaway number 3. Vertical integration is the greatest superpower in business. Since the promise by the Whole Truth is no added sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and no preservatives, they can literally sell any food product as long as they fulfill these 3 promises. Although technically they can be selling every food product, it's extremely important for any brand to not sell everything. Especially for newer brands, they should focus on just 1 or 2 products, which have the biggest gap in the market to consolidate all the demand on. And this is exactly what the Whole Truth did. They simplified their SKUs. Instead of creating 50 different products, in the beginning they focused on 3 clear categories: protein bars, muesli, and peanut butters. Each category serves a very specific need, has unified branding, and leverages their shared production capability. This simplified architecture has a big advantage. Instead of spreading their resources thin across many product lines, they can continuously improve and innovate within their focused categories. Once they master the 4 P's of their product, only then do they venture into launching new products. Even today, after 6 years since their inception, they only have 7 primary product categories. So here's your final takeaway. If you're starting a new brand, then stick to 1 or 2 primary products to consolidate all of your demand. So these were the key insights that transformed the Whole Truth into a 2,000 crore healthy food empire in just 6 years. If you like this video, then smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to TVH for more such content. Until next time, bye-bye.